Broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our broadcast today with the path to the cloud for Dynamics GP customers. In the next hour, we're going to talk a lot about PowerGP Online, and we're going to give you some valuable tips on what's in our product as well as the new PowerGP Online. So if you looked at PowerGP Online months ago, we've changed our offering and added a lot of new functionality as well as a new pricing portfolio that we will go through through the webcast today. So thank you all for attending, and hopefully you get a lot of valuable information. Okay, so first, let me introduce Ingevity. Ingevity is the creators of PowerGP Online. We are the GP data experts. And just one second here. Okay, we are the GP data experts as well as the GP experts. And so what we did is we took Dynamics GP and we converted it to the cloud. And so we reinvented it to work in a cloud environment. So a lot of people ask me, well, what's PowerGP Online? Is that just GP or is it something else? And really, what we've done at Ingevity is try to give you an environment that simplifies, informs, and delights you and gives you that experience that you're looking for in an application for the cloud. And that's why we built PowerGP Online. So really what it is it's Dynamics GP put into the cloud, and then it's reinvented for you. So we've added new functionality and things to the product to make it like no other cloud solution for Dynamics GP. So you don't think of us as just a hosting provider or a cloud provider. We're really giving you an experience that's like no other because we just reinvented GP for the cloud. So PowerGP Online has a ton of functionality. You can see in the slide here, a lot of this I'm going to show you, so we're going to go through this fairly quickly, is we have tools to connect from the cloud to other clouds. We have mobile devices like on an iPad. So if you wanted to use your iPad at home and look at charts and graphs and KPIs and view like customer or vendor information, you're able to do that from your own personal device. We also have exclusive features that we've added inside of Dynamics GP with things that just make your life a lot easier. Because we are experts in GP and we really understand how GP works, we also understand some of the quirks around GP. So we've added things in there just to give you just a better experience in general. The other thing that we've done with PowerGP Online is we've bundled ISVs. So there are certain ISVs in certain packages that are bundled in, they're just included, and you automatically get them. We also support all ISVs in the new PowerGP Online. So we have certain ones that are very popular that are bundled, and then we have others that we can support any ISV that you want to bring into your solution. Our environment includes a GPUG membership. So there's a lot of value we've put into this that's all bundled in. So it just gives you that ability to be able to say yes and work in a different way. The last couple ones we're going to show on Power BI, I'm going to show you Power Apps as well. We do have some other options for advanced security, so single sign-on and multi-factor authentication. So if you're looking at with Office 365, you can log into GP without a login. It'll just know who you are because it'll know your identity through Office 365. That's what single sign-in is. We offer that as well as multi-factor and authentication. So if you have any people in the office where they have a sticky note with their password, whether it's on their computer or it's under their desk or it's hidden somewhere that's obvious, if you add multi-factor authentication, that's fine. You're still secure because when you log in, it'll ask you to log in. They can type their password that's in the sticky note, and then they're going to have another way of authenticating, usually through a text or an email that they would get. So then it just makes your system much, much more secure, and no other ERP products offer that level of security at this time. And then finally, depending on the solution that you're running on, we do offer free upgrades depending on the edition. So next, let's go ahead and I'm going to show you a few things. So Okay, so first let's look at PowerGP Online. So there's several different options. It is just GP running in the cloud. This is on web client. So we have 5 different editions that are available. 4 that are subscription based, and 1 is you just bring your own current license that you have and put it into our environment. 2 of those come with web client only. What's cool about web client is all you need is a browser. So you have nothing installed locally, you have a browser, you can run it from an iPad, you can run it from your computer at home. So it gives you that flexibility to work kind of how, when, and where you want to work. You're on vacation at the beach. If you need to log into GP for some reason, you could take your iPad and log in and do that. All you need is an internet connection. But that's using the web client. We also have options that have the traditional desktop client as well. But I wanted to give you a little bit of a tour of the web client itself, just because a lot of people aren't familiar with it and it just looks a little bit different. But it's just GP, has the same functionality. But there's a few things in the web client that doesn't come in the desktop client that I believe you will end up loving. My first one is the search button. So you can search for any window that you would want. So those of you who are GP experts, you know that the window exists, but maybe you use it one time a year, so it takes you forever to find it because you're just not used to going there. Like maybe like in this case, I typed in print. Any window, including ISV products, will show in here in this result. So let's say if you were going to be printing W-2s or something like that, you'd be able to see that, or print sales documents. So then you can click on it and open it up. Well, now I'm going to go back to search. So you'll see any windows I have open up on the top. And then let's just put in cash. So let's say we want to enter a cash receipt. We can put that in here as well. So then now what you'll notice is the biggest difference between web client and desktop client is it's designed to work on an iPad. And iPads don't understand multi-window. It doesn't have that concept. So what you'll notice is I can't click my first window I opened back here. It won't work. But all I have to do to toggle between my windows is go here, and then I can click it and get to it that way. So it's just a little bit different of a navigation, but once you're used to it, you open your 5, 6 windows you use every day, you have them listed here, and you can toggle back and forth between the ones in the search window. So it's kind of a multi-benefit of being able to use the web client this way. The other thing you'll notice is in web client, I can kind of scrunch my bar over and I can still navigate from here. So you can have more real estate in your window that you're using, but you would still be able to get to your regular areas like finance areas and sales. You'll notice that the navigation at the top is not there. And it won't be. So you just need to learn how to use this navigation on this side instead. So it's a very, very similar experience. I've given a challenge to multiple customers that if you're using the desktop client and you want to kind of go to the web client, but you're really concerned about it because of just the user interface is a little bit different, I challenge you, if you use web client for probably 2 painful weeks and then 2 easier weeks, you're probably not going to want to go back because it works pretty slick, and just that benefit of being able to work from anywhere and all you need is an internet connection, it's just going to save you time and money, and your IT team will be happy about it as well. I can go on and on and on and on about this, but we don't have time for me to tell you everything I love about the web client. So we're going to go back and we're going to talk more about PowerGP Online. So the next thing I wanted to talk about was PowerGP import. So with import, you can import data, but you can also update data. And here's all the things that you can see of the things that we currently have that import works with. So what's cool about this is you can import net new data, but you can also modify existing data and update existing data. And it's within Dynamics GP. So navigation-wise, you can just go to where you would go to enter this type of functionality. So for those of you who are using Integration Manager, I'm sorry for you that you're using Integration Manager because it's clunky and it's weird. PowerGP import could be that replacement for you. Or if you're doing like simple integrations with like a Smart Connect or eConnect, you can potentially use this if they're simple kind of bulk updates or bulk imports. But why don't we go ahead and I'll just show it to you so you can see what it looks like. So in here, I actually opened a navigation list when I was showing you the web client. And if none of you are familiar with navigation lists, I strongly recommend you use them. It's going to save you a ton of time. They've been around for a really, really long time. They used to be really slow. Nowadays, they're fairly fast. So what we've done is, in this case, I have GL accounts. This is one of our imports that we have. So if you were going to add net new GL accounts, you could go right here, you can add them. You could also just go back and go to the account entry window, and there's an import button there as well. But we're not going to do that. We're going to actually think of customers. So we're going to go into the sales area, and then like here, I can go to customer, and this is how you'll see the import button in the customer card as well. We just added it right here on the ribbon to make it really easy for you. So an example of this is, let's say you have a salesperson, they leave the organization, so you have to reassign the salesperson for the customer, and you have to do multiple of them. What you could do is you could take your list of customers, go to a smart list, export it, change the salesperson ID, and then re-import it in by clicking this import button. And then all you have to do is pick the Excel file of the import that you changed. So that's how easy it would be. So like in this case, here I have my list of customers. What's nice about this is, let's say I put in, and I change this, and I put like Pam in there. When I try to revalidate it, it's smart enough to know that, oh, the class doesn't exist, so you can't do that. So what's cool about this import is it's smart enough that it's not going to let you screw your data up. It's going to keep your data integrity, but it also will give you more information that you wanted. So you can import this from Excel. I can modify this right from this sheet here. So I don't have to go back to Excel if I found a problem with something. I can go in here and I can edit it straight away. It won't update the Excel file, but it will import it into GP. Another example I wanted to give you was very, very common if you work with items. When you're working with items and you have to change your price levels, it is extremely difficult to do, and it's very, very painful. For those of you on the call who ever did it before, you're probably like nodding like this, going, yep, you're right, it's really, really hard. What I did here is I just took a smart list and I exported it out. And in here, I could just change my price levels, my tiers, and change it in here. And then when I go to that same import window to do the price list, it'll verify that it makes sense and that it has the right logic in it, and it'll update my price levels straight away. So it's like super, super easy and super convenient. So those are just a couple examples. We could talk about import for an entire hour and talk about the templates and talk about the documentation and how easy it is, and kind of test some and test them and show you all about it, but that would probably be a 1 hour webcast all on its own. So we're going to move on so I can show you some other tricks that I know. Okay, so next we talked about import. These are the import options that you have. As you can see, it does customers, vendors, accounts, items, so it does most of GP. It also does US, HR, payroll. So US payroll are the ones that are in this import as well. Okay, so next, working in the cloud. One of the most important things when you work in the cloud is being able to integrate with other things, or one of the benefits of being in the cloud is to be able to integrate from one thing to another. What we did is we created a PowerGP Connect. For those of you who are IT people out on the call today, it is a RESTful JSON API that's an HTTPS endpoint. So it's a secure. For those of you who are like in finance accounting, it's a URL that lets you connect to your GP data like super easily. It has a logic layer to it as well, and it's based on eConnect. So we've just taken eConnect and we've added a layer on top of it to work in the cloud. Why you should care about this, or what's cool about this, is it opens your world up to being able to integrate into new things that you couldn't do before. So for those of you who are existing customers thinking that you want to move to the cloud, we're definitely the path for you to move to the cloud with. What you get extra is there could be things that you could integrate into that you had to say no to before, because we've added this. For any of you that are using Smart Connect, PowerGP Connect does work with Smart Connect. So really what you would do in Smart Connect is when you do the map, in the mapping, all you have to do is put our URL in there as your data connector, and then it'll work for the PowerGP Connect endpoints that we currently have. So let's show this because it's super cool, but I think when you see it, it makes a lot more sense when you actually get to see it. So this is what Connect looks like. You log into Connect, and I'm going to show you all the different objects. So we have pre-built tons of objects that are out there already available to you. Oh, and I'll have to log in again. Okay, so this will come up and then we'll show the object list. What's really cool about this is we have pre-made lists for pretty much almost everything you need, but you also can create new objects as well. So if I wanted to create, let's say I create a SQL view and I want to be able to view data or integrate in or do something based on a customization I create, or maybe you have an ISV product that you want to integrate with, you can create a new object right in here. And it's super simple. Once you, let's say if you create your own view, you'd be able to call it whatever you want. You put in your SQL view name that you used in SQL, and it'll automatically create it for you, and then you'll have your own endpoint. So if you're doing any reporting and you have customizations and things like that, this is going to save you a whole bunch of time and make it super simple for you to report better. If you're creating a lot of views because you want to get into more advanced reporting, you can create your views and do this, and then this is going to allow you to get that data and get that information to Excel a lot easier. So it's that way of being able to connect things together. So I'm not going to create one. It's super easy. That's all you do is click save and it creates one. But this is a list of all the ones that we currently have today. So you'll notice that there are quite a bit of them. You'll notice some of them are stored procedures and some of them are views. In PowerGP Connect, you can view data, you can just get data and put it somewhere. You can also put data and put it inside of GP. So it's an integration that would view, but it also will write back. So that's where these stored procedures come in, is being able to write back. You'll also notice here that I have this RM00103 table, which is a direct table. So you can actually get information and go to the table directly. The base of this is eConnect. So again, it's going to keep your business logic, and you're not going to be able to screw up your data. So you're going to be able to keep your data integrity, but you can also go to a table directly. You can go to a view, or you can have one of these stored procedures. We'll continue to build these out as we move forward, but here's just an example of being able to see all this information. So this is just the sales one. So if I go into inventory, you'll see that I have all my inventory ones. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this guy. So earlier when I said for the technical people, it's a HTTPS blah 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 blah. All you need is to know is it's just a URL. So I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to show you how we can get a list of all of our items inside of Excel. Okay, so we're going to start a brand new empty Excel report, and then I'm just going to get data. So we're going to just get data from the web because it's a URL. So it's just it's a web address. So I put in my URL that I copied from Connect. And then what this is going to do is it's going to go out, it's going to verify that I have security, that I have access to this endpoint, and make sure that it's all secure. So it takes a little tiny bit for it to validate. And then we're going to want to move it to a table, of course. And then in here, you can pick what columns that you want to show. So for those of you that are the masters of the data, you may want to create reports, for management or for owners or leaders in the company who really don't understand Dynamics GP all that well. What you can do is just limit the amount of data that's in the actual Excel file, so then it doesn't confuse them and they're not going to stumble over themselves. If you're an advanced user, you may want to just have all of the data that's in the item table. And now you'll see I have my data inside of Excel. So I can save this and I can load it, and then now in Excel, my data will be here. And now I have a connection back to that inventory data. So Connect, we use it this way for Power BI. We use it for our mobile app that's on the iPad. We also have Excel reports like this that it can be used for. So it's really that way of connecting your data and getting value out of it. So I know most people probably on this call today, one of your number one things you really, really want is to get better reporting, to get more knowledge of your current data that you have. You have all this valuable data and you can't make any sense out of it. We've added this connector, so now you're able to use your tool of choice to be able to connect and look at your data, and you can also manipulate it. Okay, so for those of you who are technical, if you're non-technical, this is probably going to be a little bit much for you. So bear with me for just a few seconds. This is called Postman. It's an application that just uses, that developers kind of use. With this, if I wanted, in this case, to create, I have an AP transaction. If I wanted to create an invoice, this is all I need. And if I click send, it's going to create a $45 AP invoice inside of GP. And it'll be in a batch called September. So this is all you need, really. So when you're thinking about integrating things from one thing to another, you don't really need a lot of information because it uses eConnect. So what that means is, like distributions, we didn't put any in, it's going to go and get the default distributions from GP for you, and other information as well. So that's how easy it could be. But I know that's a lot for a lot of people, so we're going to hide that so you don't have to see it anymore. And I'm going to show you something else that can give you some more examples of how you can get more out of your investment, or you can get more, think a lot different than what you had before. So here is a simple Power App. Power App's a Microsoft technology. It's built for people that are non-developers. So you can build these mini apps. What we've done in this case is a credit limit amount review tool. So the goal of this is let's say if you have a little tiny process that you have one person that does it, they have to log into GP just to do that one little thing. You could create an app like this. Let's say you have one person that does credit limit decisions, and it's now you can give the data. So like here we have Adam Park, the balance or credit limit, their available limit, which doesn't occur in GP. I can click on here and drill down, and I can get more information, because normally a credit limit decision, you're going to run a credit report. You're probably going to do other things outside of GP before you make a decision on what kind of risk that you're willing to do with this customer. So it could be something like, do they always pay on time? How many years have they been a customer? Maybe the salesperson that you'll want to interview and talk to them about our relationship with that specific customer. So that you can have that all outside of GP. And then what we did is, it's easy as this. If I just wanted to change this, I could go like this and then submit it to PowerGP Online. What all that did is that took that endpoint that I showed you that we got data from GP, it calls it, and then it writes data back. So this would be an example of an app that you could create. The person that created this for me, Belinda Allen, MVP extraordinaire, is not a developer, and she was able to create this. So it gives you that opportunity to be able to do something with very limited cost, and hook it up to GP, because creating apps is actually really, really easy. Getting them to talk to your GP system traditionally has been really, really hard. And that's why we created PowerGP Connect, so you can do that. Another example, so like this one example is, I click a button and it writes it to GP. Excel is the same thing. I connect to the database, I click refresh, it's going to go get my data. It's like a point in time. Another thing that we're working on is we're doing an integration with Expensify. We're still using Connect as our base, as our integration platform, but then what we're doing is we're writing some code where it allows you to set up Expensify. You tell it PowerGP Online, you tell them what your Expensify account is, and then we have something running that's just going to look and wait. And then when you have an expense report that's approved, it'll automatically put into GP for you. So that's another way that you're able to connect from system to system in a more automatic way. So by having this foundation, it gives you the ability to say yes. So a lot of customers I've talked to around like this and the Connect in general, a lot of them thought, okay, well, could I replace an ISP product? Potentially. But think of it as all these cloud apps in the world that you couldn't integrate with before, or if you did, it was probably a multi-step integration, or it was too expensive and you had to say no. Now you could potentially say yes to those because of what we've added in PowerGP Online. So it really just gives you that extra ability to be able to say yes or work a little bit differently. So think about that when you're thinking about choosing to move to the cloud. I think this is a really important factor that you're not going to see from other cloud providers, and that's why we say that PowerGP Online truly is the path for GP customers to move to the cloud, because it just makes so much sense. Okay, let's move on, because I still have a lot of stuff to show you, and I'm probably a little bit behind time already because I'm talking too much. But important information that I think you all should know. So next, content packs. So we have Power BI content packs. If any of you in the audience today aren't familiar with Power BI, it is probably the coolest thing I've seen in a really, really long time. This is your path to get knowledge out of your data. This is your path to get analysis. If you're going to invest in any type of KPI or reporting strategy, I would try to do it in Power BI if possible. Those of you who are probably using SRS or other tools, I wouldn't say go away from them, but if you're looking at a new reporting strategy, I would definitely do Power BI. With PowerGP Online, we've added 6 content packs to make it super easy for you to adopt Power BI. So we've done a lot of that heavy lifting. We've connected it to the GP data, and then we've created some KPIs and reports to get you started. You can take these and then you can modify them. But again, I'm going to show it to you rather than talk more about it in a slide. We also have a reports library for JET. So depending on your edition, JET Reports is the balance sheet, profit and loss, your financial statement solution that that comes with, that's bundled in. If you're in some of the other solutions, you can use whatever you want. So if you're attached to Management Reporter and you really don't want to move away from that, we have an addition for you that you can keep that. Some of the other ones that might save you some money would use JET. So to make that easy for you, since it is different, we do have webinars that talk about JET. There's content out there to get learning, and then we've created over 200 report templates for JET as well. So we're really trying to make it easy for you to work in that different way. But since I said that Power BI is probably the coolest thing I've seen in a long time, let's show you. So here's Power BI. So to get there, if you're not familiar with it, go to powerbi.com. It's free. There are some pay-for versions, but to get started, it's free. There is a desktop app that you can load, and you can get started from that, which I'll show you some things from there. To get our apps that we built, all you have to do is go to Get Apps, and if you search for PowerGP Online, it will automatically show them for you. There they are. I was like, it's not showing. So if I just wanted to get these, I click Get Now. It's automatically going to grab that. It's going to download it, and then I'd be able to use this right away. Right, and with that, I just had to tell it my database that I was going to use, and then it'll automatically install. Sometimes it takes a little bit depending on your internet connection, but that's how easy it is to just get the content that we built for you into your Power BI. So let me show you the desktop version. So you'll see here now, if I click on this, it'll just show this report, and then you can kind of take it from there. Okay. Okay, so next, I'm going to show you the desktop version. I have a couple different examples I wanted to review with you just to give you an idea. Here's a net new report that that Belinda has been working on. She has, I think, a 2-part webcast series that's starting soon about financial statements. And so what I liked about this report is when I started working with GP 23 years ago now. I wasn't an accountant. I came from more of the IT side, so I didn't really know what a balance sheet and profit and loss statement really meant. I didn't know how to read them. And so I think there's a lot of people out there that, and they know how to create one, and they know debits and credits, and they know, assets and liabilities and the terms and all that. But to really understand how to use that to think about the business, I personally struggled with, so that's why I identified with this example, because what we've done in here is we've just created reports to put it in a view of someone who's like a business leader or owner, to give them an analysis of their assets, their liabilities, their net profit in this example, and be able to show like a cash flow calendar and be able to get, basically be able to get intelligence from your data in a way that visually makes sense, that you can see it within seconds. So rather than having to look through all the numbers and reports, I can do a few clicks and say, I want 2018 and a certain month, and it'll show me my cash flow, for example, in this case. So this is a really cool Power BI report. Belinda's going to go through it in detail if you're interested in drilling into this. But because we have the Connect, it makes it a lot easier, because now the data is just there. And so we've taken the hard stuff away from you by just giving you this basis to be able to just get more out of your data. Here's another Power BI report. This one is about multidimensional analysis. MDA, or multidimensional analysis, is pretty cool, but in general, it lacks reporting. So a lot of people haven't been able to use it, even though they would want to use it, just because it didn't have a lot of reporting. So what we did is we added budgets to MDA. So now you can have your actual and you can have your budget, and then we created a Power BI report that gives you your budget versus actual. And in this, it's a similar type thing. Like I have my groups and then I have my codes. You can select them, and then it'll automatically change the amounts in the report based on what you pick. So this is one of the examples of something that we added inside of Dynamics GP, just to make your life easier, because we are GP experts and we get it. So we're going to continue to add things like this to give you just a better experience, because it's something that's part of our mission and something that we are very, we find it's just really important to be able to give you something that that you just love working with. So here's another example of Power BI report as well. And then, I don't think I have the other one pulled up. Okay, so we'll leave it at that. So for Power BI, we give you the reports. They're outside of Dynamics GP, so you don't have to have a user, like a full GP user. We have a platform user that I'll get to in a little bit, but we try to make it easy. From a Power BI perspective, probably the biggest question I get asked is, you mean this is all free? What's the catch? It can't be all free. It is free. The catch would be is if you want to publish reports out here, and you want to, oh, it's saying I have no reports. Well, I should have reports, but anyway, if I want to deploy and I want to publish reports out here, so if I wanted to publish this really cool financial report and I click publish and I want to share it with other people in the organization, that's when you start to pay. So there's ways around it where they could all get their own version of the report and have it like in this desktop experience. You can clean it up like this for non-technical people and move the fields and squish things and make it look nicer for them. So there's ways around it, but if I remember right, I can qualify it later, but I think it's about $10 a month per person that would want to enjoy the online experience. For those of you who are the data keepers, what's nice about this is you can have the report, you can get it exactly the way you want, and then you publish it. They can get it refreshed, so they can get the data that they want, but you can still keep control over the actual report itself, so then they don't end up getting lost or getting confused. So it is pretty slick. So it's something that you'll want to. There's tons and tons and tons of training and online learning that you can do to get up to speed. But that would be my number one thing. Even if you don't move to our cloud, I would definitely look at Power BI. Okay, we had a release in September and October. So these are some of the examples of the things that we've added. I talked about MDA budgets. We also added a reset batch. So if any of you have had a batch get stuck and you had to call your partner and they went into your database and fixed it, we have a utility now that does that for you. It's inside of GP. It's a window. You just click the button and it opens your batch up for you. It doesn't fix anything, so however, whatever happened, you still need to correct, but it will free you from being stopped. We've also added a few others. If you look at this list about payables transaction entry, we added recent activity. So then you can see what activity has recently been already entered in. We have also increased the performance on the checkbook inquiry window. And then we added inquiry windows that can sort by date. So those are just some of the things that we added, being experts in GP, and understanding that there's those little quirky things, and we'll continue to change and modify some of these things, as we move forward. And lastly, we also added notice credit card processing. So if you want to do credit cards, it's free. We don't charge. PowerGP Online doesn't charge for it. Notice doesn't charge for it. The merchant charges, so the credit, because that's the way credit cards work. Can't get around that part. But we made it really simple, where you, in a few windows, a few clicks, and a little bit of time for things to get approved, you can get this set up. Where if you do it on premise, it's a little bit more complicated. Okay, so next, the evolution of PowerGP Online. So here's our pillars, or where we're really trying to focus on as we evolve PowerGP Online to be designed really for you guys. So it's new, it's something that's recently announced, but what we've tried to do is give you an experience that's familiar. So you can have remote desktop, you can have your desktop client that you're used to working with. You don't have to move to web client if you don't want to. You can get direct SQL database access if you need to. So we're trying to give you that familiar experience. You don't have to have this. So if that's not important to you, you can be on a cheaper plan that doesn't give you those things. But if it's important, you can have it. We can support all ISVs. So you can bring all ISVs with you. And then we've also made those cloud-to-cloud integrations like I showed you. So we've given you the ability just to work much differently. And then, of course, we've added these extra security benefits. In our cloud is tested by hackers. So we go the extra level on security, because nowadays with cyber threats and all that stuff going out there, security is utmost important. So we have people that's what they do. They're security experts. We go through audits. We also hire hackers to come in just to make sure that we are at the leading edge in our environment. And so with single sign-on, we've added that so it's extra secure, and then also password resets and kind of being able to self-serve when you forgot your password, and all of that would happen with single sign-on, and then also the multi-factor authentication. So don't be worried about the sticky notes with passwords on them anymore. Okay, so now I'm going to talk through the editions. We have four subscription editions, and then we have one that you bring your own license. So this first edition, it's $99 per user per month. It includes all the stuff I already showed you with Connect and mobile and import and all of that. But you also you get GL, accounts payable, receivables, bank rec, EFT. And that's it. So it's super simple. You don't get to do invoices with line items on them, but it is at a very nice price point, and it includes free upgrades. This is web client only. You do not get database access. You do not get remote desktop. You get web client, and you get free upgrades at this price. It's a subscription model. So these first four are subscription. What that means to you, if you're an existing customer, you would go off your yearly maintenance plan, and then you start paying this $99 per user per month. And that's for full GP users. Okay, the next plan, again, same thing. It's web client only. You do not get direct SQL access. You're sharing your environment with other people, which brings that cost down lower. In this case, you would get everything you get in basic, and then you'd also get SOP, sales order, purchase order, and inventory, as well as several other things as well. If you're interested, we can go into detail of what's in each one of these packages and go module by module so you can understand. But these are the two options where you're limited, where you get web client only and you get bundled ISVs. You can add specific ISVs on, but you can't. It's not an all ISV. But at the price points that they are, it could be something you might be interested in. Our next two, there's Premium, and then I'll get to Premium Plus. This is where you can add all ISVs, you get direct SQL access, you get remote desktop, you get your web client or your desktop client, or both. So let's say you do your regular desktop client when you're in the office, and when you're at home you use web client. You could totally do that in this Premium option. For those of you that are familiar with Ingevity to Go, this is similar to the way Ingevity to Go would work. The big difference is you get mobile and you get import and you get connect. So all the cool stuff that I showed you, you will get those in this Premium option as well. They do not include upgrades, since you can put any ISV that you want in there. We can't guarantee that the upgrade could be free because you could put what you want. This would be something, if it's important to you from a budget perspective, we can work with you and your partner on figuring out, how we could do pre-planned upgrades to make it easy for you. So Premium is basically the functionality you get in Premium is the financials, the distribution, and the distribution area. So it's really similar to Standard. So you get sales order, inventory, purchase order, and all of the financials. Premium Plus is the more advanced functionality. So manufacturing, project accounting, field service. If you need any of those, then you're going to be in the Premium Plus package. All four of these are subscription. So that's where existing customers would move off their yearly maintenance and they'd move on to this, starting paying per user per month. Next, bring your own license. That's what it means, is bring your own license. You bring your whole entire GP license with you. You get all of the PowerGP Power Suite modules that I had showed you earlier, so import and connect, you'd get those. Those would be automatically included, but all your other licenses need to come from you, or from your partner. You bring them with you. So again, you would stay on your yearly maintenance that you pay Microsoft for. That would all stay the same. So if you really want to take everything you have current on your on-prem environment and you just want to plop it into our cloud, bring your own license is probably the place that you'll want to be. There are unique circumstances depending on what ISVs you use and what functionality you use. I've talked to quite a few customers where they weren't using all that much, that they could move to that basic plan, and based on when they purchased, it could save them some money. So all you existing customers on our call today, I encourage you to talk to your partner or talk to us at PowerGP Online, because really what we'd want to do is a price comparison. Chances are for a lot of you, bring your own license is probably going to be the best value for you, but it all depends on your unique circumstance. So we just want to make sure we're setting you guys up to succeed and you're in the right place. So bring your own license. Of course, you get all the Power Suite stuff that I had showed you. You would get direct SQL database access. You'd get your desktop client as well. We could support all ISVs in this environment. It's just that you buy your licensing separately and you'd bring it to here. Next, we do have the HR payroll suite. For those of you who are doing payroll in-house or you're outsourcing your payroll, this is something for all of you to look at. So it doesn't matter how you're doing your payroll today, I'd take a peek at it just in case so you're aware of it. What I love about this is it's $14 per employee. So $14 per employee, and you get all of this cool functionality. Green Shades is bundled in, Integrity Data is bundled in. This handles your federal, handles all 50 states. It handles a portal that you can view your W-2s and pay stubs and all of that for $14 per employee. So it's no longer that you have to be a big company to be able to have a portal that an employee can go out and download their W-2, because it's right here. And it's super convenient depending on your location and how complex your payroll is. It could actually be cheaper for you to bring it in-house. So that's why I encourage everyone to look at this, because it's $14 per user. The people doing actual payroll the actual paychecks and doing the pay runs would be a GP user. So that would be, at the full user level, but the employees themselves would be the $14. Okay, so I talked about users a little bit. I wanted to leave some time open for some questions, so I'm going to go through this really, really fast, but and I'll just build this out so you can see depending on what thing you were looking at. We have full users, which is it's your full user Dynamics GP user. We also have what we call a limited user. A limited user are for people that just use smart lists, inquiry windows, reporting. They go into GP, but they don't change anything. They don't enter any transactions. You don't want them to do that. And all they do is read-only type stuff. You could probably move them down into a limited user, because I bet almost everybody, every customer on the call has people that are probably in GP, and really they're read-only type people. You could probably save some money by bringing them down to that lower user point. We also have a platform user. A platform user is people that use like Connect. They have no GP login. So if you have people that are using like mobile, they're using Connect, they're not logging into GP at all, they would be that platform user, which in our public cloud is $5. So it's just something to think about when you're thinking users, and then also thinking about Connect and maybe changing the way you do business. It could be something where you could have a strategy around this. Okay, basic and standard are available today. They're available November 1st. The premium and premium plus and the bring your own license that includes all the PowerGP Online Power Suite will be shipping soon. We're targeting right after the new year. We have transition plans and all of that. So you could still move today, or you could start your planning to move today. And then when these come available, you'll automatically get Connect and you'll get import, and we'll work out how all those details work because it's coming so soon. So that's kind of our timeline for the roadmap. Okay, so a big question I get from a lot of customers is, how does this work? If this is the path to the cloud and I'm going to move to PowerGP Online, what does that mean? Depending on your edition, if you're in our public cloud, you'll probably have to have one last upgrade you pay for. You give us your databases and you get all this cool features, and we do a lot of that heavy lifting. If you have to upgrade and maybe you don't have the right version of SQL anymore and your hardware isn't compatible, we have a sandbox that you can do where you can just give it to us and we can work with your partner and do the upgrade in our environment. So we can take a lot of those obstacles away from you. If you're moving to the private clouds like the Premium Plus, or the Bring Your Own License, you don't have to upgrade. You can just send us your databases, and it's really a very similar experience than if you bought a new server and you had to move to a new server, except for we do all the work for you. You just send us the databases, you'll have just a new way to log in. And then you don't have to worry about GP anymore, because we'll take care of updates, we'll take care of service packs and maintaining the environments that you have. We'll work with you on upgrades. So even if you're in like the basic or standard or public clouds, we work with you on the upgrade and work with the partner on the upgrade. So it's not going to be a case where you come in on Monday and then everything looks different because we just upgraded you, or something's broken because you got an upgrade and didn't know and didn't test something. So it is something that we try to give you that power to choose. So with a lot of cloud options, you have to work with their rules or not at all. And so what we're trying to do is give you that power to choose what kind of cloud you want, how you want to work in that cloud, and be more flexible to kind of give you that easy button to make things easy for you without having to take away functionality. And lastly, which is why it's in all capitals, and I almost forgot to say it, is you get to keep all your data. So if you're looking to move to the cloud and maybe someone's talked to you about like Business Central or some other cloud options, the big catch is you don't get to keep your data with you. You're gonna have, and it's a completely different product. It's a completely new implementation. Where with this, it's the product you get to keep all of your data. It's kind of a no-brainer. It's like, why wouldn't I do this? So an important point. Okay, so lastly, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about whys, and then we'll open it up to see if anyone has any questions. So for those of you who are in like IT, or let's say you're not in IT and you need to prove to the IT team of why cloud makes sense. Here's my reasons of why I would tell an IT pro of why it would make sense. So for them, security is number one. It's something that we do for a living. So our environment is always going to be more secure than someone's on-prem. We can debate that all day long if you need to with your IT pro. We validate backups. So another pro tip is everyone does backups. I mean, it's pretty standard, but when was the last time you actually took a backup and restored it and had someone in finance actually log in and make sure that everything worked? We make sure that happens. So we also validate backups. We do patches. We have uptime guarantees with an SLA that's financially backed depending on your edition. And then it could be no more installs, no more GP installs and having to do that if they move to web client because nothing's installed on your computer anymore. It's all handled through the web client on the servers. So the other thing with IT pros is why you would move to the cloud. It's about vision for the company. If you could take your IT person and instead of them installing service packs and patches and working on failovers or a damaged drive and buying new hardware and all that maintenance, if you could have that person instead of focusing on that and really focusing about the future and what is the new technology that you want to adopt so you can grow and you can meet your business objectives, and having them focus on that is going to be a really large value add because we'll take care of all that other stuff that's more busy work and let you actually have them be part of that conversation to drive your business forward. Accountants. So if we need for accountants, why is this the path? So one, it's compliance. So we are SOX compliant. We make upgrades easy, so you don't have to make a potential big budget ask on a regular basis in order to get upgrades or have a big argument with the IT team about upgrading and having to mess with that pesky GP system because we handled it for you. We have added new features. We've added new innovative options for you to run, and then you get to work from anywhere that you want. And it truly is virtually anywhere. It's usually pretty easy for an accountant. And then for business leaders, the path to getting better analytics and better intelligence out of your data, we've already done that. You get your data on demand in the format that they like. They can have their people be more productive. So like their IT people and accountants can actually focus on helping to run the business rather than all the little intricacies, because we'll make sure it's up and running and working. We're working on things like with Power BI around cash flow, but also from a business leader perspective, by moving to a perpetual model or moving away from a perpetual model to a subscription, you're kind of paying per month. So depending on your situation, it might be just a different way that you're flowing your cash. You don't have the big yearly maintenance spend all in 1 month where you can spread it out. And then lastly, peace of mind. So because we are security experts, we're GP experts and data experts, you have that peace of mind that we'll just keep it up and running for you, and you can focus on running your business instead of all the systems that you need to support it. And then also, and my last area around peace of mind is we do have plans, and we work with partners on plans around, let's say you're a nonprofit. There's a lot of other industries that are similar, but like with a nonprofit, and usually the board has to approve your budget for the year, and it's an exhaustive procedure. So for you to get approval to do an upgrade, sometimes can be very, very painful. So we do offer like peace of mind plans. And what that means is we can just add your payment per month. You pay a little bit more, and it could be that you get one free upgrade a year, or you get a bundled amount of services or consulting hours per year, and you just pay per month. So then when you're thinking about your yearly board meeting, that's just a checkbox item once you do it. You get approved for the whole year. It's pre-planned. You don't have to do a special budget request for an upgrade, and it just makes it easy. And then plus you have that peace of mind that if you do have a problem, you can always tap into your consulting hours and your prepaid time at a lower rate than normal. So those are some of the things that just kind of help you run the business in a more consistent way. Okay, with that, we are going to move to the Q&A portion. We have about 5 minutes left of our time today. So if you do have any questions, I have Chris Hopkins from Ingevity as well as Mike McFilling, and we could probably take questions in the question manager if anybody has any. And then while we're waiting, because I don't think we're seeing any, or at least I'm not at this time, if Chris, you have any other comments or anything you want to add, now is the time for you to have the floor. Or any other questions that came in that I didn't see, if you want to call them out.
Yeah, I don't have anything to add, Pam. I think you did a great job of presenting why PowerGP Online is the path to the cloud. How would you like folks to submit their questions? Have we unmuted the audience, or do we want them to submit questions in the chat?
I was thinking we would submit questions in the chat. I just haven't seen any. I'm looking at the chat now and I don't see any. But we could open it up and unmute the audience too. Or maybe we might have a shy crowd today. The crowd is shy. They're reluctant to ask any questions, or maybe they're furiously typing in the Q&A manager and trying to type something in. For those of you who don't have any questions yet, you may have questions as you let all this information sink in. I know I went through a lot of information in this last hour, probably too much for you to probably all consume. You can feel free. You can email sales@powergponline.com. You can email me personally, even though it's hard to pronounce, it's hard to spell my last name, but it's PMISIALEK@ingevity.com. If you have questions after this, feel free to reach out and we'll get back to you. So I'm still not seeing any questions in the question manager. Oh, wait, there might be one. Yes, so if you're in the bring your own license model, you'd still do pay your enhancement fee to Microsoft. So you'd still have your yearly fee because you're bringing your license. So you still have your fee you pay Microsoft for. So in the pricing part, it's starting at the $159 per user per month. What that is for is the infrastructure as well as the PowerGP Online Power Suite of tools that you'd automatically get. So you'd get that would be on top, but you'd still continue to pay your enhancement plan to Microsoft. If you move to one of the other four, that's when you'd remove your enhancement plan and then you'd pay the per month amount instead. Oh, okay, next question. Do I have to be on a specific version to move to PowerGP Online? The answer to that is it depends. If you're going to move to our public cloud, which is that basic or standard, those two options where you don't get database access and it's web client only. If you move to that, then you do have to be on a specific version because it's a shared environment. If you're moving to a premium plus, or bring your own license, it does not matter. You can be on any version and you can move to our cloud. So it depends on which version you're on. And then Belinda Allen, MVP extraordinaire and creator of all the cool Power BI reports, her question was a smiley face. So it's like, thank you. With that, I think we're out of time for today. Thank you for those of you who reached out with a question, and feel free to reach out to PowerGP Online to me personally or to anyone on our team if you have questions in the future. I hope you enjoyed this webcast and I hope you all have a great day. Bye.